guys, and welcome back to another build video. It hasn't been a hot minute for y'all, but it has been a whole long time for me. It has been quite a bit since I've sat down and recorded a voiceover or done any sort of building whatsoever, honestly, because craziness has happened in my life. I started a new job, we had a holiday, and a wedding. Not mine, don't worry about it. Y'all would have probably heard me stressing about it. But I was a bridesmaid in a socially distanced wedding, and all kinds of crazy stuff happened. So this build kind of was a little bit special in that it was like the first one back, which was kind of exciting. Like I hadn't touched, it doesn't sound like a long time, but I hadn't even touched my computer to do personal fun stuff like this in a week. And that's hard when you work on a computer for a living and then don't get to do any sort of fun stuff. You start to get a little like, I don't even know, I get a little crazy about it, but I got to come back and build this build, and this build is doubly special, triply special. I don't know how many times I've called it special now, because it's based on a house that I saw on House Hunters when I was a very little girl. I had to have been like 9 or 10, I think. And I fell in love with this house for no good reason. This house was not in the state I lived in. This house was not, like, even as a child, I was like, that is not a house I could ever afford, because it was in Southern California and it was on the beach. Like, legitimately, you climbed down some rocks on this little, like, sand walkway to this house, and this couple was looking at it, and they, their whole thing was they wanted to be on the beach, but they were, like, not making a whole heap of money. And so, like, obviously in Southern California, because, you know, it's warm all the time and they have beautiful beaches and stuff, they were hoping to be on the beach, but they were, like, struggling with money, and so the lady showed them this house because it was, like, completely roached out. It had been, like, kind of a drug den for a while, and, like, had squatters living in it, and, like, all of this nonsense. Like, it was gonna be a big old deal to fix. It was really ridiculous, but I fell in love with the floor plan. I fell in love with the look of the house, and so for my first build back, I was like, you know what? I just want to build this little purple house I saw on HGTV. Smash cut to me being entirely disappointed at one major plot point. There's no purple siding in this game, I have learned. So we decided to go with blue because we are in Sulani, and I thought the blue was really pretty, and it's a Sulani siding. Like, it came with that pack, and it kind of matched the surrounding house a little bit. The house itself doesn't so much, but I wasn't really like trying to build it to fit in Sulani. I was trying to build it to be a decent representation of what I remembered from this HGTV show. I think it was House Hunters. Like, when I discuss it, everyone always goes, oh, do you mean, like, Beachfront Bargain Hunt? This was before that, I think. I'm pretty sure this wasn't Beachfront Bargain Hunt, but I've never been able to find the episode since. And, like, I always talk about the little purple house in Southern California that I want to purchase. By the way, the couple did not. They had no interest in dealing with all of the, like, legal ridiculousness of this house, and that's fair. And it was tiny compared to what they were looking for, because it was 1 bedroom, 1 bath, from what I remember. And they were looking for, I think it was like at least 2 or 3 bedrooms, because they both worked like partially from home, and this was like way back before that was cool. So like I got why they didn't want it, but in my opinion I was like, it's on the beach, like it's flood warning on the beach, like that would be so cool. Not the flood warning part, to be fair, like that wouldn't be cool, but anyways, it was like in my head I was like, it is so worth everything else to be that close to the beach. It was such a cute little house. But so I tried to get the floor plan about right. This is the second time since The Sims 4 has come out that I have tried to build this house. And the first time, I don't remember exactly why I gave up on it, but I gave up on it. The proportions didn't seem right. There was like a bunch of goofiness, and I just wasn't a very strong builder for a long time in The Sims 4. I don't know if I'm a super strong builder now, but I'm more competent at problem solving than I was in the beginning. So I took a swing at this house. It's definitely funky. I don't even know what the vibe is, but I had so much fun just like putting it together. That column made me sad. I would have liked to have a column there, but the lighting was not a fan, and the lighting never got better. I cut out like a bunch of attempts with that column there in the corner. But I just had so much fun building this. It was so fun to just get back into it and just do a little house. Although admittedly this house did turn out like proportionally bigger, I think, than the house on the show was, but that happens in The Sims because you can't do little squished walkways and stuff, because you have to kind of stay on tile for The Sims to be okay with it. And obviously, like, the house on the episode of, like, House Hunters or whatever it was really roached out. Like, it was really bad. So, we sort of were visiting my interpretation of the house. Had I had $1 million and not been 9 at the time, what I would have maybe done with it. So it's definitely a little funky, but I like how it turned out. I especially love the kitchen. I think it seems like such a fun place to cook. And I did a lot of purple and a lot of, like, bright colors, especially because I couldn't do purple on the outside. I think I would have gone more muted on the inside if I could have had a little purple house. I think maybe I would have gone with a tan. But the other thing too is we don't really have, like, a super fantastic, like, off-white, if that makes sense. Like builder special white, you know? It doesn't, a lot of the whites in this game come across kind of either, like, really old-fashioned, like, kind of milk white, for lack of a better term, or they're really dingy. And so this would have been a good house, I think, that would have benefited from sort of like a builder special white, but I didn't find anything I liked, so I just was like, fine, bright colors. And it is kind of, like, maybe a little bit tacky in the colors, but again, I think it's just so fun. I was having such a good time just being like, yeah, you know what, I have this piece of furniture in the Sims, I'm gonna put it here, gonna be cute. And there's that new console table that I love so much and is gonna go in every build ever for the history of time because I love that console so much. It came in the February patch, I think. And okay, this house was built 2 days before the bunk beds. Patch, right? So there's no bunk beds in this house, but we got bunk beds now. And hopefully they'll work better soon. They did say it was the first iteration. Speaking as someone who writes code, I don't build video games, but as someone who, like, writes code for a living, I was like, I get that. That's code for it didn't work and nobody knows why, and we're not gonna like cause a mental breakdown with one of our developers before it works. So I do wish them luck in getting that, but I'm personally not mad about it because this is the first iteration. Is code for please somebody else look at this and fix it. So hopefully they'll get that fixed soon, maybe for April, because we're just starting that month now, or maybe May or something like that, depending on how big the issue is. It looked like it was maybe a bounding box issue. So that's super cool. I'm excited about that because they give us loft beds too, and the loft beds are actually the thing that's broken. The bunk beds seem to work as intended. It's kind of like, well, I don't know, I'm telling you, you guys can probably go play with it, but I think it's a bounding box issue with the loft beds, to be honest, which makes sense because Sims don't really do anything with the bottom of the bed, so it makes sense that would be a weird thing to try to solve. But I'm excited about that. But yeah, this build I finished like 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days. When did I build this? A little bit before that came out. And I haven't done a lot with bunk beds yet. I'm really excited to, but I think this build and the next build aren't bunk bed related. And then I unfortunately had to be away from my computer, and now I'm back and we can build bunk bed stuff. So I'm really excited about that. This bathroom is kind of bare because it was really hard to do. It's a small bathroom, so it's really hard to do like anything on the walls. And I'm just not super inspired bathroom wise right now. Like my last couple builds, there's one you'll see probably coming up in a couple weeks too. I'm not super, I gotta figure out how to get inspired about bathrooms. Maybe I gotta I don't know. Does the IKEA catalog have bathrooms? Maybe I can like look in the IKEA catalog or something and get some inspiration. The bathroom is just kind of plain. I tried to make it look a little old-fashioned because again, the idea is like, well, it's not the idea that the house this is based on. The idea is from, the house was like trashed and needed to be fixed and well loved. And so the bathroom probably had a lot of old stuff they could hopefully fix and maybe like re-enamel, because it's an enamel tub, right? Or like a porcelain tub, maybe they could re-porcelain it. And this build is kind of all over the place too. I was watching the footage back before I started the recording, and like, I don't think it's wholly unwatchable, but it is one of my more like frantic builds. I'm all over the place, decorating a little bit over here and a little bit over there. I don't know why that is. I think I'm always like a little crazy about how I build, but I'm usually not like this sort of like back and forth between rooms. I usually kind of go room by room. I don't know what caused that, but again, I was just having fun and goofing off, so I really like how this house turned out though. It's very cozy in my opinion. And like I said, the colors kind of clash and are maybe like not fantastic, but I just think it's so fun, and I'm not sure what kind of sim is gonna live here yet, but we're gonna figure her or him out, and it'll be really cool. So And I did set that chair off to the side. I didn't mention it when I was first doing it because that table is huge and could sit 6, I think. But 6 would have made it super crowded, and the Sims would have probably had like a meltdown over pathing. So I just stuck that chair in the back if you end up having 4 Sims living in here for some god awful reason because it's a 1 bedroom. Or like maybe you have Sims over, you could pull that chair out, and there's actually the other chair in the kitchen as well that you could pull and have 5 sitting there. And I'm sure you could probably pull, like put a chair somewhere else and give the impression to pull that 6 chair. I don't know. Or just pull out like one of the folding chairs, and then you can just pretend that 6 chair is a folding chair. Anyways, point being is I did not make full use of that dining table, but I don't think it matters too much because it's a single person dwelling. Maybe a couple. You could maybe get away with a couple in this house because it is a double bed. Excuse me. Hearts outside. I love the little stuff hanging from the porch. That took too long in real life to do, but I think it's cute because the original little house had sea glass hanging like on looked like fishing line, and it was so pretty and dangly. And the lady, like, when they were walking up was like, oh, that's pretty. And then she was like, that's the only part of the house I like. And I was like, okay, fair, but you've got to see past the fact that it's really gross. But I used to love HGTV shows and like House Hunters and stuff growing up. And then like I went through a phase where I didn't watch a lot of it. I've always watched like the home reno shows, but I didn't watch a lot of House Hunters. And I kind of go through phases with it now where I'm like, it's all I want to watch. And then, but it's not on a whole heap anymore. You don't see it super often except at like 2 a.m. and I'm in bed because I work weird hours. So, well, 2 a.m. is not a weird time to be in bed, but like I don't stay up late was my point, or was the point I should have been making there. But I talk about Chip and Jo enough that you should be aware that I watch it. Well, they were on HGTV or DIY, whatever it is. Now they're going to be on the Magnolia Network. I'm excited for that. A family member has Discovery Plus, and I have not stolen the password yet. I haven't asked for the password yet, so I can watch the Magnolia Network preview. But like I want to because I love Chip and Jo. And so I think that'll be really fun. But then you guys will see a lot of farmhouses on this channel, so maybe it's okay that I'm not watching it right now. Although you see a lot of farmhouses and like little cottages on this channel anyway, so it is what it is. This bedroom is like much. It's a small bedroom. I was gonna say it's much tighter. It's not even that much tighter than it looks. It's just a really good case study into why are all the bedside tables so big. I can't be the only one who's noticed this. Where, well, they're all giant. Like, I mean, my personal bedside table is giant, but that's kind of the theme of the set. Like, I have, like, a fancy adult bedroom set. Look at me, I'm such an adult. But, like, part of its, like, aesthetic, though, is that it's chunky. It's, like, a big, like, country set. And it was kind of designed for people who don't have closet space, which I do now, but it's not great. Anyways, but like my brother and stuff, he has like a little one, and like my parents don't even have bedside tables. They have something different going on, but like most bedside tables are tiny. They're meant to hold like an alarm clock and some water and some tissues, maybe, like, normal stuff. They're not supposed to be, you could eat a whole meal off them, and it feels like the Sims 4 stuff is just huge. And it like, because of the way, maybe it's the tiles too, because of the way it pops into the grid system. If you don't alt place it, it's like miles away from the bed. You would fall off the bed trying to get your water at night. So, point being, I don't understand the Sims 4 and their nightstand tables. But, there's a little bit of a pause there, and I don't remember why I paused. Probably should have pulled that out, but that's cool. I like that little corner table. I don't use it a whole heap. Mostly because I forget it's there. There's like this whole set of accent tables that feel weirdly hard to get to. They're not like super hard to get to in the catalog, but they're just kind of under miscellaneous, and so I don't think about them a lot. There's like that one, and there's the one from El Salvadorada, and there's the one from completely forgotten the pack, but there's quite a few little tables in there that are really cute. I gave up on curtains in this house. Couldn't be bothered. You can see me doing it in this one room, and then I was like, you know what? Never mind, and just gave up. So I hope you're not too private if you live in this house, because you'll have to figure out curtains. Maybe we can pretend they're the kind of windows that frost over at night, or like they have like that coating on them. I don't know. And then I went really low key with the landscaping, because it like on HGTV, the house was obviously on the beach, but here it's in town, and so I figured we were probably gonna have a lot of people walking around, and eventually we'd probably want to put like a barbecue out and stuff. So I didn't go too crazy with the landscaping, but there's our little house. I'll leave you with the screenshots, and I'll check back in a minute. Okay, I'm popping back in for 1 second. The lighting in this house is weird. It's definitely dark, kind of by design, because I wanted a long lamplight and stuff, but it's also just weird. I don't know what that was. I had a lot of issues with kind of no matter how many lights I put in, it still seemed dark, and the kitchen especially, like, there's no ceiling lights at the moment, because I ended up pulling them out because they weren't changing anything, and I don't know what I did on this lot to make that happen, but I've had weird lighting issues, so it could just be the game, but the lighting is weird on this lot. Alright guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the house, and I will talk to you all soon.